When you stay in a hotel, do you ever find yourself wishing that the hotel room had something that's missing? This video is specifically addressed to families because for me, for the past 25 years, almost every hotel stay I have had has involved sharing the room with at least 2 up to 4 other people. So there's either been 3, 4, or 5 people in the room. However, if you are a solo traveler or you're usually traveling as a couple, you may also appreciate the things I'm going to talk about in this video. I stay in hotels all the time, and there are 3 things about hotel rooms that I feel that many hotels are missing that really make a difference for families. And I'm going to share what they are in this video. If you appreciate travel content like this and you enjoy watching my videos, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. Please just take a second to subscribe and click the notification bell so you get notified every time I put out a new video. All right, so just focusing on the hotel room itself, if you're traveling as a family, the one thing you might think that you need more than anything else is space. And that's definitely true. It is certainly helpful to have more square footage and more space in the hotel room. But the 3 things I'm going to talk about, I feel, are even more valuable than having space. And that if you have these 3 things in your hotel room when you're traveling with your family, it doesn't even really matter as much if you have more square footage. If you have these 3 things, even in a smaller room, it can really make a huge difference to your overall stay, your comfort, and your ability to enjoy your time in the hotel room. Now, when we stay in a hotel that does not have these 3 things, we still make do. We figure out a way to make it work. But I'm just saying, on the few occasions where we have had a hotel that has these things, it makes such a huge positive difference to us that I really wish that all hotels that intend in any way or at any time to cater to families would strongly consider including these things in their hotel rooms. Okay, the first thing, and this is probably the first thing that most families encounter when they get into a hotel room, is more place for your stuff, okay? Now, what I mean by this is 2 parts. First of all, hotels need to have enough places for people to set their suitcases. If you have a room that is supposed to sleep 4 or 6, and you only have 1 luggage rack in that room, and there is literally no place else to set a suitcase, what are people supposed to do? The second part of this is, if you don't have enough places for people to set suitcases so that they can actually be like living out of their suitcase, then you need to have enough places, drawers, cabinets, closet space, so that people can actually unpack, and then there needs to be some place where they can set their empty or partially empty suitcases. We did encounter this in the hotel. The last hotel we stayed at had all of these 3 things I'm going to talk about in this video. If you want to know about that hotel, it was one of the best hotels I've ever stayed at. Be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that video when it comes out soon. Okay, but I'm going to point you out to this video. This hotel that we stayed at in Massachusetts had a real problem. There was no place to put our stuff. Now, if you watch the whole video, you'll see that we figured out a solution, but it was definitely not something the hotel was intending for us to do, I'm sure. It was a real problem. There was not anything to set our luggage on, and there was not enough floor space, literally, for us to walk around and be able to walk freely in the room if we had our suitcases on the floor. And I personally just don't like putting my suitcase on the floor. I know some people that doesn't bother them, but it's just something with me I don't like doing. So having enough place to set suitcases or having enough storage space, drawers, cabinets, closets, things like that, to unpack and then someplace to store the suitcases is really, really important for families. Especially because families are usually on a vacation and they're probably going to be in this room for a pretty long period of time. But even if you're only there for 2 nights or something, you still need a place to put your stuff. And if you don't have anywhere to set your suitcase or you don't have any way to unpack, that can be a real problem. Okay, the second thing that hotels need more of, if they want to make hotel stays comfortable for families, is more seating. If the only thing you have to sit on in the room is the bed and maybe a desk chair, you don't have enough seating. There needs to be other places for people to sit. At the end of the day, after a long day, touring a city or visiting a theme park or going to the zoo or whatever, people are tired, but they don't necessarily want to go to sleep immediately. And so you want to have places for people to sit and relax. This has proved to be especially true during the pandemic if more people are eating meals in their hotel room. If you're bringing your breakfast back from the breakfast area, because for a long time there, hotels were not allowing people to eat in the breakfast area. It was all like grab and go. Or if you don't feel comfortable eating in restaurants like we don't, you want to, get takeout or something and bring it back to your hotel room. Obviously, staying in a suite can help with this because oftentimes there's a table or kitchen facilities, and that's great. But not just a table, not just someplace to eat, but things to sit on, chairs, couches. Again, places like Homewood Suites or Embassy Suites or Town Place Suites, anything with suites in the name, usually will have more seating. But in standard hotel rooms, oftentimes this is a problem. There will be nothing to sit on except a single desk chair. And if you have 3, 4, 5, 6 people in the room, is everybody just supposed to stand or sit on the bed? I don't know about you, but I don't really sit on my beds at home. I lay in my bed, I sleep in my bed. I don't sit on my bed. It's kind of awkward, especially if you still have people sleeping in the bed, if the only place that you can sit down is on the bed. And you certainly don't want to be sitting on the bed and eating on it. I just think that's ugh. I have stayed in hotels. Here's one that's a really good example where we stayed in Michigan this one time. It was a standard hotel room, which is 2 queen beds, but it had multiple very comfortable armchairs. And then again, outside on the porch balcony thing, there were more places to sit. Things like that, just, 2, 3 armchairs with a little table or something is great. Anything like that, just give people more things to sit on. And then the third thing that would be really helpful to families is if hotels in the United States, because this is not as much of a problem in Europe or in Asia. Our family has experience with this. Please, hotels, more beds. You need to have more offerings, more room choice, where you can choose 3, 4 beds, separate beds. Not just that it sleeps 4 or sleeps 6. Everybody doesn't want to sleep in the same bed. Newsflash, we're not all sleeping in the same bed together at home. Okay, and especially when you're, really there is no good age. When your kids are little, they can actually take up more of the bed than a big person can because they snuggle up next to you or they sleep sideways or whatever. And when your kids are big and adult size and the same size as you, they don't want to sleep with you anymore. They want their own bed, just like they have at home. Please, hotels, you need to give families more beds. And here's a few things that I don't think count as beds, okay, or are not preferable. Sofa beds are not beds. Now, hotels, I have noticed, seem to be kind of getting a clue on this. I'm seeing fewer and fewer sofa beds in hotel rooms. People seem to realize nobody wants to sleep on a sofa bed. It's not comfortable. It's not a real bed. They seem to kind of be going away. Okay, give me the sofa, but don't expect people to sleep in a sofa bed. Okay, trundle beds, where it comes out on the floor under a sofa or under another bed. I don't like these. The ones that I've experienced, I've had them in 2 recent hotels, were not good. And my kids did not feel comfortable sleeping because it was really kind of like sleeping on the floor. And the construction of the beds themselves oftentimes is not very good, and they're difficult to get in and out and things like that. So I don't like sofa beds and I don't like trundle beds. I understand that those are ways that hotels are trying to save space, but I don't think that that's a good solution. One thing I do think is okay is Murphy beds, where they pull down out of the wall. You'll see these in the value resorts at Walt Disney World. Murphy beds are good because you're still getting a whole intact mattress that isn't getting folded up. It's a whole mattress and it's just, it's swinging all the way up or down. Walt Disney World also has some twin size pull down beds. And even at Disneyland in California, they have day beds. It's a sofa and it turns into a bed, but it's not the typical kind that you pull out and it bends and does all those weird things. the mattress and the seating, I guess, actually completely flips over. So like on one side it's the bed and on the other side it's the sofa. And so you're still getting a whole intact mattress. Anytime they use something like that, where it's an intact whole mattress, that the mattress does not get bent or misshapen or anything like that, and it's not a trundle bed that's on the floor, I think is a good solution. And there's a lot of really cool furniture options, and Disney's done a good job with this. The one thing I would say about Murphy beds, though, and Disney does a good job with this too, but I'm not sure about, I've seen Murphy beds offered in a few other hotels, but I've never actually stayed in one where they're offered, so I can't really speak to this. But one thing I would say about Murphy beds is that don't make the guest have to move a bunch of furniture to get the Murphy bed open. If you have to move a couch and a table and a chair to get the Murphy bed open, well, then that's not convenient anymore. There has to be enough space in the room so the Murphy bed can just come down at night. The other thing I would say about those pull down or flip down beds, like what you see at Disney and stuff often, is they need to be the size that an adult can sleep in it. Specifically, I'm referring to the pull down beds you see at Walt Disney World Resort, in Caribbean Beach Resort, and Port Orleans Riverside. They have little pull down beds and they're like a twin, but they're not a full-size twin mattress. They only are designed to accommodate a child up to age 10. Well, I hate to tell you, half the time you have your kids, they're over the age of 10. So those don't work for us either, because at this point I have an adult child and 2 teenagers. So we need to have more beds in hotel rooms, and they need to be individual, real beds. If you look at hotels in Europe and Asia, I mean, almost every hotel I have stayed at, and my son has traveled through Europe a few times in large student groups, 3 different times. Girls would have rooms, and he was always with the guys, okay? And there would be 3 or 4 guys, and they were always sharing a room. But they always had their own beds. Hotels in Europe and hotels in Asia, especially I've seen in Japan, understand this, that you need to have individual beds for individual people. I don't really mind if they're twin beds, even though I have a queen bed at home. When I'm traveling, I just want my own bed. That's all I really care about. I don't care that I am, having to go into a smaller bed just for this temporary time. But it sure does bother me when I have to share a full or a queen bed with my mom or my son or my daughter. So, more places to put your stuff, more seating, and more beds. These are the 3 things that I really feel that families would greatly appreciate in hotel rooms. And as I said, in the times that we do encounter these things, it's interesting because oftentimes when we do find hotels that have these things, they have all of them. It's like they thought of everything. Or maybe they won't have the additional beds, but they'll have the other 2. They'll have seating and they'll have more places to put your suitcases, or they have enough storage space and space that it's okay for you to unpack. So those are the 3 things that I think are really important to families in hotel rooms. Would you agree? Are these things that you, if you travel as a family, would really appreciate in hotel rooms? Leave your comments down below. I really appreciate hearing your comments. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you're all having a great day. Safe travels.